everyone, I'm Hope Molinax. I am the creator of geekygirlexperience.com. I am the co-podcaster for J Guys and Jedi, which is an animation podcast. We are currently going through all the Filoniverse. And I also have a podcast called Hope Makes Chris Watch Cartoons, where I make my friend Chris watch my favorite animated shows, and we're currently going through Gravity Falls. Happy Remembering Resistance Day! There it is. It's right up there. And then the thing. And you know what? I would have more, but the marketing for Resistance was, non-existent. As you can tell by the everything else up here. Anyway, I wanted to address a criticism that I often see about Resistance as a whole. And what it is that a lot of people say that the show doesn't impact the Star Wars universe as a whole, and therefore it's not as good as the others, which I find as a really, really weird criticism, but at the same time I get it. When we get to the, when we look at the other animated shows, Clone Wars is the Clone Wars. It impacts the universe as a whole. And Rebel shows the beginning of the rebellion as they get ready for, destroying the Empire that we see in, the original trilogy. So, Resistance is very different from those two shows because, for one, Resistance is just a very different show anyway. It's a character-driven show. It's a world-building show. It's not about the Jedi or the Sith. It's about how the wars of Star Wars affects everyday people, and that's what makes it so different. And I started thinking more and more about it, about why does everything in the animated shows have to impact the universe as a whole? Why is that a qualification of whether or not a show is good or bad? And the more I thought about it, I had originally written an article last year called "Not Everything in Star Wars Has to Be at the Level of a Death Star," and then my website died. And so, in the process of my website dying, I had lost that article. And as I started thinking about it, because that's an article I want to rewrite, I was like, well, why don't I address it here? For, Remembering Resistance Day. Now that the show is complete and we can look at it in the context of the entire series, I started thinking the more Resistance reminded me of something else. It reminded me so much of, I hear the haters coming. I can hear the Resistance haters going, how dare you compare Resistance to Lost Stars, you bitch! I know, I am a bitch. I'm a bitch! No, but hear me out. So, Lost Stars. And Lost Stars is just kind of the main example, but it goes through for most of the books in the Star Wars universe. Most books in the Star Wars universe do not impact the galaxy or the story as a whole. They're very personal stories. And I love Lost Stars, and I love Thane and Ciena, but they don't impact the greater world of Star Wars. And I think that's where the previous animated shows have set that precedence, where it's animation must change the course of the galaxy, and it must make us rethink everything. Clone Wars changes the prequels, and Rebels shows us the beginnings, and gave us Bindus and World Between Worlds. And Resistance doesn't do that. But that's okay, because not everything in Star Wars has to be at the level of a Death Star at all times. And that's one of the things that I like about the books, especially something like Lost Stars. Lost Stars is a very personal story. It's a personal story between Ciena and Thane. And it's their lives and their relationships and how the greater wars of Star Wars affects them as people. And that's exactly what Resistance is. And Resistance is a very personal story. It doesn't have to change the entire course of Star Wars and make us rethink the sequel trilogy. And I think that's a flaw. I think that's a flaw that a lot of people are critical of. That every time we get a new animated series, it's going to change something about Star Wars. Why can't animation just be personal stories? Very personal, quiet stories that are about a small group of people and how Star Wars affects them. Why do they have to affect Star Wars? And I think that's going to be an interesting thing, especially going into something like the Bad Batch series that's coming. With the Bad Batch series, it's going to be the beginning of the Empire, and yeah, we're going to get to see, like, you know, the transition from the Clone Wars to the Empire, and probably get that time period, but I'm not expecting the Bad Batch to go off and be like, the main founders of the rebellion with Bail Organa and Mothma. I have a feeling it's going to be very personal stories like Resistance, and yeah, that's why, like, I think that Resistance is such a special show, because it's so different from the everything else behind me. It's so different that it's okay that it doesn't change the Star Wars canon. It's okay that it's quiet. It's okay it's about just a single group of people, and I think that's what makes it so unique. Now, just to say one more thing as well, it's okay if you don't like Resistance. It's okay if you don't like Rebels. It's okay if you don't like Clone Wars. You know, we don't have to like everything in Star Wars. And the thing is, like, yes, Star Wars, the whole of Star Wars is for everybody. But we don't have to like the individual things inside the universe. For example, this is a work of art. It's the greatest thing ever written. This is the best fan fiction that has ever been written. This is a waste of time and a piece of shit, and I hate every single minute of it, except for, like, Eli. Eli Vanta is the only good thing, and my bitch queen Arlani. The rest of it sucks. This is a waste of my time. And so that's the thing, like, we don't have to like everything in Star Wars. I love my blue husbando. He's my boy. That's my blue husbando. That's my bitch wife. So, like, yeah. So, it's okay that we don't like everything. So, you know what? I would say give Resistance a try. Go into the show knowing that it's a very different beast. It's character driven, it's world building driven, it's not gonna change the course of Star Wars. It's just a very personal story about a group of people, about how the wars of Star Wars affects everyday people. So, happy remembering Resistance Day. This is what happens when you do stuff at last minute and you don't have time to shower. Da 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 da. Ah! Ah. I love my grande boyfriend.